Hello and good evening. My name is Kobe Spiky Nkrumah, and you're listening to Joy 99.7 FM. The show is Geek Squad, and today we're talking about e-commerce and the future of e-commerce in Ghana. I'm sure you're probably wondering, what is e-commerce? You know the word commerce, but why the E? If it's Geek Squad, you know E stands for electronic, so electronic commerce, or sometimes we like to refer to it as internet commerce. So I'll give you a brief history about e-commerce. So it began with the first ever online sale on the August of 11th, 1994. And a man sold a CD by the band Sting to his friend through his website Netmarket, an American retail platform. This is the first example of a consumer purchasing a product from a business through the World Wide Web, or e-commerce as we know it today. So basically buying and selling goods online or on the internet, and the transfer of money and data to execute these transactions. In Ghana, we have some prominent platforms that you know when you hear e-commerce, these guys stand for e-commerce. And I have people from these brands to help us have this discussion. With me is Albert Bigger, who's the CEO of Zuba Shop. Hi, Albert.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm very well. And I have Daniel Sapon Jr. He's the head of digital strategy for Tonaton. Hi, Daniel.
Hi.
So I want you guys to tell me about your platform first, like a brief history, what it is about, why you decided to start, why you decided to get into e-commerce, and we will get into talking about the future of e-commerce. So I'll start with you, Albert. First off, Zuba Shop, the name. I want to understand, why Zuba Shop?
Thank you, and thank you for having us. So, to start with, you know the story about what the first e-commerce transaction was. I must have heard, I don't know how many different stories about when e-commerce actually started. And I guess that may or may not be right, depending on how you define e-commerce. If you say e-commerce is internet commerce, it may be right. But if you describe e-commerce as any kind of commerce that has technology to it, then it expands or it broadens the base a lot more. And so you'd say, for example, if you were able to call me across the ocean to place an order, that's some kind of commerce using technology. So I'm sure if we say e-commerce, we'll probably want to expand the definition a bit more, just so it includes a lot more other things. So Zuba, I remember in 2013, early 2013, when we conceived the idea, we must have gone through, I don't know, maybe 3,000 names. There were three requirements for us. It had to be buzzy, something people could remember. Number two, it had to sound African. And then, of course, actually four, it had to sound African. Number three, the domain had to be available, which is a big challenge, right? And then the last thing was the name had to mean something for us, and so that every time that we're delivering a service, we remember or we get reminded by it. And Zuba actually means awesome in urban English. Okay. So every time we mention Zuba, or every time you interact with Zuba, we want to believe that we're offering you an awesome service. In fact, internally, we have a pledge, and the pledge essentially is to give every customer an awesome shopping experience every day or today. So that's the background to Zuba.
Great. Tonaton. I mean, I don't have to ask, because everybody who hears the name Tonaton knows what it means. But actually people don't know that it's a can.
Yeah, a lot of people actually don't know that. So just as my brother said, Zuba means awesome. I actually didn't know about that anyway. So yeah, so most people know it as Tonaton basically. But the name comes from buy and sell. That's our business model. So Naton, buy and sell. That's where we have Tonaton from. Yeah. So Tonaton is actually part of a larger salt site technologies company based in Sweden. And we have offices across Sri Lanka, we have offices across Bangladesh and India, and then we also have Ghana. So all our offices have different names. So we prefer to take the name of the of the market we are in. So, for example, in Sri Lanka, we are Ikman.com. In Bangladesh, we are Bitcoin.com. So, in Ghana, we are Tonaton.com. So, Tonaton basically started in 2013 to bridge the gap between buyers and sellers. So, talking about e-commerce right now, we have traditional commerce where you want to buy something, you have to walk around, you have to waste time, energy, effort, and money to be able to have your product and services. So, our form of e-commerce is whatever you have available to show to everybody in Ghana, or whatever you want to buy from anybody in Ghana. Just log on to our site, search for it, and you may have that right person to purchase from or to sell to.
Right.
Yeah, so that's basically a brief history about Tonaton.
Okay, so that means that Tonaton is more peer-to-peer marketing.
So, look, this is an important clarification we need to make, and I guess it's useful for all of us. There's a very distinct difference in the various kinds of models that are available as far as e-commerce is concerned. There are two wide extremes. One is online retail, which is typically like Zuba Shop, or you could look at it Kingsway, ShopRite, whatever, online. So basically you're a retail store, you're just online. And then there's a marketplace, which basically puts you as an enabler. So you are not exactly involved in the transaction. You've created an enabling platform that allows two people to connect. Can be business to business, B2B, B2C, C2C, whatever the case might be. It's important to spell out this distinction because the opportunities, the challenges, and everything to do with e-commerce differs distinctively depending on which end of the spectrum you play. There are a few hybrids in the middle, but it's important for the purpose of this conversation that we draw the distinction. I'll give you a typical example of how it differs significantly. So if you take, for example, a typical marketplace where, let's say, a Tonaton, and I know you guys have changed your model a little bit. Yeah. But originally, Tonaton was a marketplace. So what it meant was that Daniel could place a product for sale and I could go and buy. Yeah. Now, if Daniel made false declarations on the product, and I have a problem with the product, I don't go back to Tonaton to complain because essentially I'm buying directly from Daniel. So usually on a marketplace, you find that there's a lot more variety because there's any and everybody on there. And because there's a lot more variety and because there's a lot of competition, prices are generally better. But then the company doesn't validate any of the information that's on the site. However, if you go to online retail, you're buying from the company. So usually the stuff that's on the site in respect to the claims made on the product are usually valid. So if you look at it, one presents you a bit more risk, but of course a bit more reward because the prices are generally better because there's a lot more competition. The other gives you a bit more security, but then the prices tend to be slightly higher because you're talking well-established companies. It's important all throughout this conversation for us to make that distinction.
And that is exactly why I wanted each of you to tell us what your business models were. But obviously you have gone 2 steps ahead of us.
So to clarify that as well, so Tonaton actually started as a classified site. So basically, as he even explained, if you want to sell something, you can post on the site and anybody in Ghana can have access to it and purchase it. But we also have a retail store as well, what we call the Tonaton Deals. Right. So Tonaton also does a bit of retail where if you want to purchase something, you can purchase it directly from Tonaton. So if you log on to Tonaton right now, you can have the various categories, which are the classified from cars, vehicles, properties, and you can see the Tonaton Deals. So those deals are from Tonaton, and Tonaton sells directly to the consumer. So we work with both models, basically, online retail and also a classified site.
Okay. So now back to the consumer's point of view. Why would I want to use e-commerce rather than walk to the shop to buy it? And that's where the difference between both of you come to play. Now, with Zuba Shop, you're an online retailer. So you sort of like take from the actual suppliers and then resell. So what informed the decision to create an online retail store?
Good question. And I have to answer this question pretty much every day of my life, leading the team at Zuba Shop. But you see, I've been working in this sub-region for 2 decades. And there are a few things I learned about the sub-region that informed my partners or my shareholders and I the choice to go online retail. So generally, I'm of the impression that in this market there's a lot of mistrust, and mistrust kind of permeates through everything we do. So we generally believed, and I think with the benefit of hindsight and seeing that Tonaton is veering slowly into our business, it tells us that with the benefit of hindsight, we did take the right decision, that the market was not ready. You know, you can play in the market space if and when people understand that the responsibility of due diligence is theirs and they have to take full responsibility for it. We just thought the market wasn't ready yet. So again, with the benefit of hindsight, we did take the right decision. What we are seeking to do is actually to grow the market over a period, and that's why we opted for online retail. What this allows us to do, just like any retail store, is that we do give our customers options on products. But we tend to do all the due diligence, and we sort of give you a good, better, best proposition. So you find like an entry-level product, you find a mid-range product, and you find a high-end product. But all of the due diligence is sort of done for you already. You just have to make a choice to pick. So what this gives you, as far as online retail is concerned, it gives you peace of mind, it gives you comfort. You know exactly what you're buying. It's not some Daniel who is making a claim saying that this is an iPhone X and it's new, it's in a box. It's a company, a reputable company like Zuba Shop, saying that this is what you get, this is after sales you get, this is the warranty you get, this is how much you pay for it. There are no surprises, and I feel like if I were a customer, I'll be more comfortable buying from an online retail store. Hence our choice to go that route.
Right. So before I come back to you, Daniel, we usually have we're Geek Squad.
Yeah.
So to my right is Winston, that's to your left, and then we have Michael, Ajiti. So we usually do this together.
Okay.
And we will ask you. They also have any questions they can ask you. But right now it's my turn.
Okay.
So he told us what got them into online retail. Now you tell us why you started your business model.
Okay, so one of the reasons why Tonaton started, basically about the mission of our business, basically, is to provide online marketplaces in an underserved market to create sustainable value for the community, basically. So we do online retail, and also it's a classified site. So I'll first talk about the classified site. So just imagine, let's say you want to purchase a car or you want to sell your car. On average, each person in Ghana spends about 3 months to sell his car, because the first thing is that you have to go to a lot of garages, find out all the cars they have, do all your bargaining and negotiations before you get the right car you want to purchase. So we realized, why don't we do this? We bring all these garages and all these businesses on site. So for example, currently we have over 1,000 businesses who have registered with Tonaton, and they put their services, their products on site. So if I want to purchase a car right now, I don't have to go to garages. In fact, at 12 a.m., I can sit in the comfort of my room, go through all the cars that all these garages have, make my choice, and in the morning, I visit a garage and maybe do all the checks that I have to do. Let me talk about properties as well. So you want a place to rent. Maybe people listening to me who are looking for places to rent know how stressful it is. You have to go to Medina, maybe after that go to East Legon and go to Tantra, go to Domi and all that. But we have all these businesses, agencies, and people, individuals like you, who maybe they have places to rent, lands to buy, lands to sell and all that. So any individual can just go on the site. He's looking for a land, he's looking for a place to rent for a short stay, or a place to rent for a long stay and all that. And they're able to have access to this. So what we give, the value we give is we save you time, we save you energy, and we save you money. And you're able to have a lot of variety of, products, brands, service available that you can choose from and then purchase from eventually.
Right.
And on our retail part as well, we deal with a lot of businesses as well. So we have Tonaton deals, and Tonaton provides the product to you directly. So if you want to purchase, say, a phone, you go to the Tonaton deals, you purchase it, and Tonaton delivers it directly to you. So that's interacting directly with Tonaton, but the classified site is dealing with people in the market directly.
Right.
But let me add quickly, because your question had to do with why would you shop online, right?
Yeah.
So there are few benefits that run through whether you're online retail or your marketplace. One of them is convenience. Convenience is huge. I mean, it means, like you rightly said, you can sit in the comfort of your home, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 12 midday, even in the bathroom if you want, and shop online.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, as far as convenience again is concerned, it is that these platforms allow you to compare products, compare prices. So imagine if you wanted to buy a phone, you could compare, I don't know, tens of thousands of phones on your laptop without having to jump from shop to shop. You can compare prices and all of that. And then, of course, the convenience, the last leg of the convenience is that you get delivery to your door. So, again, you don't have to actually go through traffic and go looking for your product. The product gets delivered to you. So really, it's convenience, and it has to do with delivery. And for the most part, also, you get a price advantage. E-commerce stores are generally much leaner than brick-and-mortar stores, and so we tend to
Why is that?
Because we have lower overheads. I mean, if you walk into a retail store, for example, you see in excess of 50 to 100 attendants. They ought to get paid. Yeah. There's air conditioning. Remember, and all of the expenses that we have, they have as well. We have a warehouse, they have a warehouse. We have a lean back office staff, they have lean back office staff. Then on top of that, they have air conditioning in their retail operations. They have attendants, and then it's all of its attendant risks that are associated with it. Yeah.
Great. So now, moving into the future, we know now what e-commerce is at the state that we are in. We're looking at the international markets, comparing ourselves there. And this is supposed to be a premise for the discussion of us going cashless. People consider online shopping when they do not want to use physical cash. That's also one of the reasons why anyone would consider using an online shop. But we are in a country where everything takes time. So we're looking at the future of e-commerce in Ghana. What do you think Ghana needs to do, first off, with regards to the convenience-wise? I'm buying from you. You mentioned delivery, and that's what I want to hone in on. So I've bought from you. How do you deliver the stuff to me? Say I bought a fridge. You have a delivery truck?
Okay, so it's not exactly accurate to say that people will. One of the reasons they'll buy is because they have cash and they don't want to do the transaction electronically.
No, I'm saying that they want to do the transaction electronically because they do not want to spend cash.
Yes, but today most online companies, Donaton, Zuba Shop, afford you an opportunity to either pay electronically or pay cash.
Yes.
So we in fact, over and above offering you the cash option, we give you electronic payment option as well. But for most online companies, the way it works is once you place the order hits the back end, they find a way to do some kind of confirmation. I can tell you what happens at Zuba Shop, for example. Once the order hits the system, you automatically will get an email and a text message validating the order and saying, confirming the order. And then you get a phone call in addition to validate the order. And at that time, if there are any additional clarifications or additional comments you want to add, say, for example, yes, it's a home theater, but you want a silver finish or a white finish. And even though you ordered it, you want it delivered to, let's say, Daniel, all those additional instructions are added, and then the delivery is arranged to your door. So it's as simple as that.
Okay. So in future, where a lot of people have gotten into e-commerce, a lot of people have begun to patronize your platform. What is it that would change when it comes to the delivery option?
Look, let me tell you what I see in the future. When I look into the crystal ball, I see a crazy explosion with e-commerce happening exactly the way mobile money is happening. I remember when we launched, 5 years ago, we were the first to market as far as online retail is concerned. And I remember there were lots of naysayers saying the time wasn't right, people weren't ready. Today we're bagging lots of orders, and potentially I see this going crazy. There are a number of things that has to change for this to reach its full potential. One of them is people have to understand the e-commerce space properly. And that's why at every opportunity, I want to talk about the difference between buying from a marketplace where you are entirely responsible for doing your own due diligence and validating and verifying the product before you part with any money, or buying from an online retail store like Zuba Shop, where you get the comfort, you can return the product if you're unhappy. People need to understand the space. Each one of these ends of the spectrum has something to offer. It's not a case of one is better than the other. It's just a case of a salon versus a 4x4. They both have their uses. If, for example, I am looking for a used product, I'm looking for a pair of trainers that I could maybe stroll on the farm with, I'm not going to buy an expensive Nike on Zuba Shop. I want a used pair of trainers. I'll go on to Tonaton, for example, and find somebody who's selling some really rocked ones to buy. So each of them has their uses, but people need to understand the space. We're lucky enough to have the other three drivers that drives e-commerce buzzing at optimum levels. One of them is payment platforms and electronic money. In fact, now I think we have a lot more options than we need as far as payment platforms are concerned. The other thing that's going to drive e-commerce is connectivity. Okay, we're starting to see a lot of improvement in connectivity. It's still not the best. I'd love to see a time when you get online and you don't have to worry about brakes and slow speed, etc. So connectivity is one of the things that's going to drive it. And then devices and R&D, the two kind of go together, because before it was you're shopping off your laptop. Now you can shop off your phone. Now you have push notifications that tells you of deals that are happening. So all the stars are lined up for this to blow, as you guys said. I think what's missing to a large extent is just the general confidence and the trust for people to freely play in the space. The value proposition is exceedingly high. You get convenience, you get better prices, it gets delivered to you. You get to evaluate your options very quickly. So we're just there. We're ready to go crazy.
Right, Daniel.
Yeah. So even before I start, I think I want to make a bit of addition to what he said. Yeah. So talking about the old and new stuff. So on Tonaton as well, actually we have a lot of used products, because we give people the opportunity that if you have something used, but most of the products that are sold online are also new. So for example, we have some brands like Honda, Hyundai, Autopart, Porsche advertised on the site, because they get people to purchase new products on the site. But we just give the opportunity for other people who have, maybe if you have a used car, you can also sell on the site. So this market is actually very big and really growing in Africa and Ghana. So for example, in somewhere in the 2000s, the internet penetration, that's the people in Ghana who have access to the internet, was around 0.02%. And as of 2017, per internet stats, so that was about 33.7%. So if you look at this gap, you realize that the internet penetration is really growing. And even to talk about Tonaton.com, we started in 2013 as an online marketplace. And in that year, we had about 100,000 unique visitors. For the listeners who don't understand unique visitors, those are the individuals who come to the site each month. So for example, I visit Tonaton 1,000 times in 1 month. I'm considered one unique visitor. So in the first year, we had 100,000 unique visitors. Now to 2019, we have 800,000 unique visitors on the site. These people have continuously seen value in commerce. They've seen value in their business. They've seen value in purchasing. That's why they keep coming on the site. So the e-commerce market is actually very big in Ghana. It's really growing. And as he said, actually, what one thing that will really drive is connectivity, because a lot of people may have interest but may not be able to connect easily. And some people may also have the interest but may not be really educated enough to be able to access the site and then make their purchases, because there are some sites that are quite complicated and cumbersome. So even making the purchase may be quite complicated. So if you're listening to me and you have a brand and you're starting something online, please make sure that your app, your mobile interfaces are user friendly, so that it can facilitate the customers' purchases and all of that.
Great.
Yeah.
So the thing about e-commerce that you keep mentioning is about us educating people to know the difference between your online retailer and like a classified site where people can also upload their own ads or their own products to sell. Now, which platform if you would say, has the most potential to grow? If, let's say, I want to start an e-commerce business and I'm looking at starting, say, either an online retail shop or your type, Tonaton, which one has the more, which one would grow?
Look, so first off, as far as entry barriers are concerned, entry barriers are much higher with online retail.
Mm-hmm.
So technically, to set up a marketplace, you could get 2 computer science graduates or computer science students actually launch a marketplace overnight. Because really, all you're doing is creating a technology platform and allowing people to do business. So the technology platform, a little bit of marketing, that's your marketplace up and running. The moving parts, however, for online retail are much more than a marketplace. You require offices, a warehouse, a proper supply chain operation. It's a lot more sophisticated than that. I don't think the question really would be which one would grow quicker. I think both are positioned to grow exponentially. I think what will happen is that, especially now when people still have trust issues online, online retail will thrive a lot better. But all things being equal, at some point, both will tip next to each other because they both have a service to offer. We have chosen online retail because we understand the market. We understand people need to get comfortable. And as I said, Tonaton has identified it too.
but no, we always had that part of us within.
To be honest, I mean, the only thing, and I say this in all honesty, the only thing that I wish Tonaton would do differently is to label the products differently, to label the platforms differently, because that will help a great deal in pushing the message and educating the public about the differences. Because once you understand the different models, then you understand the risk and the responsibility you are taking with each option you go for. It's okay that we have a lot more players join the online retail space. I just feel like we're jointly responsible for making sure that the market, the public understands the difference, and we should position right. That's really it.
So now, payments. E-commerce is nothing without payments, and now we've seen the, should I say, M-commerce. For the sake of the conversation, I will create my own M-commerce, mobile payment systems,
Joy
mobile
Cash.
money. Joy Cash. Charlie, Joy Cash. Write it down. We've been coming out with a lot of innovations on this show. Joy Cash.
I'll do the ad for you, don't worry.
It seems as if a lot of people are now using more mobile money versus the Visa cards and then the MasterCards. Which is, for you on your platform, which do people use the most?
Look, when we launched it in 2013, it was 100% cash on delivery, which is an option we allow our customers to an option that they can select. Because obviously e-commerce or online retail was still new, people needed to get more comfortable, so they would want to see you deliver the product, and then they give you the cash. We've seen that slide a great deal to, I think at the end of Q3 last year was when we did some extensive work on the numbers. It's probably about 50, it was about 50-50 then. My crystal ball tells me it's going to slide even further to more electronic payments and less of cash. But there are real issues that we need to deal with as an industry. There are a few bottlenecks, and I'll describe a few of them. For some of the categories of products, Daniel will confirm our margins are really, really small. In some cases, we make 1%, 2%, 3%. Now, if my customer pays me via electronic money, whether he pays me credit, debit card, or mobile money, I lose 1.5%, 2% to that transaction. Now, if I take cash on delivery, I get 100% cash. So generally, then I lean towards cash. Then I also need to evaluate the risk of my delivery team carrying cash around, ensuring those transactions to make sure they're safe. So those are the things we need to figure out. ultimately, as an online player or as an online retail store, my preference would be to have all of the transactions be electronic if the numbers or the financials make sense. Reason is simple. We find that most of the time, if not all of the time, when the guy does an electronic transaction, they don't change their mind. But when they opt for cash on delivery, maybe they go to the mall and then they end up buying something else, or some girl takes it off of them. So we find that there's some kind of 2%, 3% drop when there's a cash on delivery order. So our general preference, I don't know what Daniel will say, but our general preference will be for electronic transactions. It's easier, it integrates smoother, generally better, but the financials have to make sense.
So ideally, if there were no losses there were no all these percentages that were cut out of your part, then
but there cannot not be any charges. They just have to be reasonable, because I remember when we started in 2013, some of the payment platforms were asking for 4-5% as transaction fees. I mean, at 4-5%, I might as well be working for you. So we just need to see these numbers get more realistic. And if the central bank is really serious about getting into a cashless economy, then we should see that they are committing a lot more to ensure that these figures or these charges drop significantly. I mean, anything from 0.5% to 1%, in my mind, will be a lot more realistic. Then we can sort of aggressively push the cash. Because I remember there was a month where we gave additional incentive for people who wanted to pay online. So there's free delivery, you get a free gift. And we saw that slide significantly to almost 70-80% electronic payment. But I'm still losing 2%. So the financials have to make sense.
Daniel, in your case, you guys, do you accept payments?
Yeah, so we deal with, the M payment, as you said. And previously, you would see the trend of people wanting to pay on delivery, because some people maybe they buy a phone, they want to make sure that the phone is of the quality and all that. But currently, you would see that electronic payments have also increased, because customers have come to understand the level of quality that our online retail delivers to them. So that level of loyalty, that level of goodwill, and confidence has increased the e-payments. And also, one problem most brands or most customers, customers have is if they purchase if they purchase electronically and they don't want the goods, what then happens? So we have that return policy. So we give them that level of confidence that we know that our products are of high quality. However, if we bring it to you and you think it's not of that high quality, you always have that option. So this has also exponentially increased online payments. And it's actually it's very convenient as well, because everything comes via transaction online. So the delivery person having to go, as he said, have a lot of cash on him and all that, all those things are vetted. So yes, so e-payments are just that some customers generally usually still have problems with maybe paying via mobile money and all that. But so hand in hand, both go.
I think also to add, talking about the financials making sense, it's also on the customer side. We are now seeing a lot of banks going online, internet banking, etc. But prior to this point, if you wanted to load a wallet, the hassle you go through loading a wallet, it defeats the entire purpose of me wanting to enjoy convenience in my home. So I buy online, then I have to go and go and look for a vendor. So the more we're able to integrate these systems, bank accounts, wallets, cards, then of course the value proposition is much stronger for electronic payments.
Great. So if you're listening to us and you want to join in the conversation, you can send a WhatsApp on 0244340437. It's 0244340437. We're talking e-commerce. Winston, you wanted to ask a question.
Yeah, so Daniel, you mentioned return policy.
Yeah.
Now, this is very interesting. So I've used Amazon. I use Amazon a lot. And the return policy on Amazon is very, very good. Like, after getting the product for, after 3 days, you can take it back. You're like, I don't want this. And they refund you. So I would like to know first, that's the first thing I want to know about return is how long, what's the duration for your return policy? Do I get this? If it's, let's say, a TV set, it's relatively simpler to deal with if you've had it up for 3 days and you're like, you don't want it anymore. So what's the duration like for you, and how many times do you have people returning products?
Okay, so for the past, let me see, 7 months, I have not seen any products returned, and our return policy is for 5 days. So once everything is in good condition, then Tonaton will always take it back.
Michael, do you
Okay,
shop online?
again, we need to clarify. Okay, we also have a 7-day return policy.
Okay.
About 5 or 7 days really is not the issue. We need to explain again a few things. Now, if you bought an item, marketplace, case returns, goodbye. We need to clarify that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if you bought on online retail, Tonaton is saying they'll do a return. We do a return as well. But there are a few important things, okay? For us at Zuba Shop, the clarification is that you have to return the item in a resellable condition. It's important.
Yeah, very,
Because
very
if you bought
important,
if you bought a phone and you broke the seal, and 3 days later or 6 days later you returned it, the product could not be sold as new to another person, and therefore makes it not returnable. So that's an important clarification we need to make.
Yeah.
We generally find that people don't return products. It's a culture thing. A few times I've noticed passing by a customer happiness area that a customer who's received a return is not sure whether he can just walk out the door because they're just surprised by the fact that returns actually do happen around here. But again, the clarification is very necessary.
Okay, so when you say you've broken the seal, you mean so like I bought an iPhone, it's wrapped in plastic,
Correct.
and I peeled the plastic off,
Yes.
and then I realized that no, I didn't want this color.
Okay, so yes, it's not returnable, but keep in mind there are a few things that happen here. If you changed your mind within 7 days with Zuba Shop, and you return the product in a resellable condition, we give you a return or refund, no questions asked, okay? Now, if we made a false declaration, i.e. the box said it's blue, and we opened it and it's red, of course you can return it, no questions asked. But if you opted for a blue one, you opened the box, you got a blue one, and you still said, I don't want it anymore. We don't have the luxury of being able to wrap this up and sell it to another person as new. So we typically will not accept returns. But even in those cases, for repeat customers and people who continuously shop at Zuba Shop, and we do get a great number of very loyal customers to us, we sometimes make concessions. We take these products and we sell them off to staff at discounted prices, things like that. But the important thing, and I'm happy Tonaton is doing it as well, is that we all need to build confidence. People need to get more comfortable that it's as good as shopping, going into a shop and buying a product. In fact, I don't know that there are fiscal stores that allow you to do return. There's a very famous stamp that they put on to say goods bought are not returned. So it's comforting to know that competition is doing it as well. We all have a responsibility to make people more comfortable in the e-commerce space.
So, next question.
Before you ask, Michael, do you shop online?
Quite frequently, actually.
Oh, really?
Yes, I actually do. And I'm in the process of listing my Toyota Tundra online.
Not a Nissan
as well.
Tundra.
It's no longer a Nissan Tundra.
Yeah, that one got sold off.
Oh, okay. That's wonderful news.
Look, if you brand something the right way, somebody will buy it. Even my Nissan Tundra. So you can't knock me for that.
Okay, so yeah.
Okay, so we're talking about e-payments. Very, very important. Now, towards the end of the year of 2018, we got a news article. Basically, news broke out that Ghana is losing millions of dollars at the point of sale points of many websites, that they have been breached by various parties. So how exactly do you deal with that? Because I think, Spike, you do remember the value. It was, I think, close to 100 million.
Oh, that was a very vague figure.
Because
it all encompassed.
Yeah, the entirety
every
of
other.
yes.
Yeah.
So, how do you deal with keeping people's data safe? How do you deal with, I mean, even e-payments, the entirety of it? Because, for instance, Spiky, we had an experience at the fintech.
Yeah, the fintech conference.
Yeah, where you talked about where you had to load a wallet, the process of loading a wallet. Now you have these many platforms, Express Pay, Slide Pay, Mazuma, you have all of these. But Spiky and he had that experience. I was there where he installed every single payment platform available just to load money to make a payment, an online payment. And he went through every single one. He could barely figure everything out. And a few minutes after installing one, someone
And
called
signing up
and signing up. Someone
Got a call
called him
from
from
London,
Yeah.
selling binary trading options.
Yes.
Mm.
So that
So
means there was a data breach somewhere.
Mm.
Unfortunately, because it was not a controlled experiment,
We couldn't tell which one.
exact
Mm.
app was breached. So, customers' data, that when they sign up on these platforms, how secure are they?
Well, I hear a number of questions, and let me be clear. so there's the bit about customer data.
Yes.
There's also the bit about fraud and your wallets being breached.
I think that's not really a problem because the person wants to make a payment and uses a third-party application to get you the money. I don't really think should that be your problem.
Well, it's not, but I just also, again, there's a lot of miseducation around there. I just want to make some kind of clarification. There's some misconception out there that there's a lot of card or electronic or wallet fraud in Africa. It's not true. Actually, the facts don't support it at all. In fact, the facts do state that there's a lot more fraud, electronic fraud, out there, as in mature markets, than there is here. The only reason why it comes up for conversation frequently is that most of the big companies, the Visas, MasterCard, etc., currently do not insure transactions in Africa. And so typically, people who are processing, third-party companies who are processing these transactions, flag them as high risk just because there's no insurance. So I don't think there's necessarily a predisposition to fraud around here. In fact, considering that technology is now growing in this space, I think we've done a good job not having to be hit by a lot of fraud. I mean, we hear even the likes of Amazon and things being hit. So on that front, I just wanted to make that clarification. As far as customer data is concerned, up until I think 2014, 2015, we didn't have the Data Protection Act. Now we do have the Data Protection Act that enjoins each one of these companies to protect customer data. The only thing I'll add very quickly is that a lot of customers check boxes without necessarily realizing that they have opted for an opportunity to receive marketing products, have their data shared, etc. And that usually is the problem. Most companies will not intentionally share customer data. So I think largely it has to do with making sure that you're checking the right boxes. Some companies check these boxes as a default. So it's your responsibility to go and uncheck them. But that's usually what you find is the problem. But I don't think any of the online companies in Ghana, at least not Tonaton or ZubaShop.
Because for Tonaton, I mean, every data we take, is technically protected. So we just make sure that every data of customers, businesses we work with are really kept very well. I mean, privacy policy is something we hold as a premium service, basically.
So would you mind any of the Geek Squad taking a sweep? We have a cyber security team to take just a light dance across your...
You're welcome to do that.
Try it. You'll be highly disappointed.
It's not about the disappointment. It's just, this will build trust. It will build more trust.
Yeah,
you are very secure.
Sure.
I mean,
Just make sure you buy something expensive so that it's worth our while as well.
If you're listening to us and you've shopped online and you might want to tell us your experience, the number to call is 0302-216-541, 0302-216-541. So, Michael, you were saying?
I was saying that I've noticed that between the two of you, most of your goods and services are mostly, especially in the goods, are mostly physical. I wanted to know if you intend on going into software, or let me rather say soft/licensed online distribution as well in your product lists.
It's a fantastic question. We do have a few services listed on ZubaShop, and in fact, if there was a way for us to sell only soft services, I mean services or products you don't have to deliver, that would be fantastic. That suddenly, reduces our overheads with respect to dispatch, logistics, etc. So yes, it's an interesting space. So you're talking things like massage treatments, maybe deals on hotel rates, airline tickets. We used to do a lot with our. So yes, those kinds of soft products, yes. And it's a very interesting space. So it's something that we're growing gradually.
Okay. So I'm going to be asking you about some of your challenges, but we have a caller on the line. Hello, Seth.
Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening.
Good evening,
can
sir.
you hear me? Please, I want to ask two fundamental questions to me.
Right.
Yes, I'm found to be a customer as well as a client, and as well as a client to Tonaton, as well as ordinary customers online. And one fundamental thing that I found was security, which is the fulcrum of e-commerce development. You know, on the side of retail, I think it's more secured. But on the side whereby there's, the consumer or the customer will purchase the product directly from the owner, that's where the security becomes a problem, and that's where the major challenge is. What measures have been put in place in order to tighten security on that aspect?
Got it. Okay, so Seth, thank you for your question. We've got another call on the line. Nee. Hello, Nee.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, Nee.
Yeah, I like doing online shopping.
Right.
But let me say, I shop for an item, that is the phone.
Yeah?
With the specs when the item came, the specs on the box and everything was right.
Right.
It says 3 gig RAM and 32 gig storage space. Now, you cannot tell that the storage space is that much accurate. Now, after 3 weeks of using the phone, meaning that your 1 week for returning the item is due, you notice that a 32 gig space was not even up to 8 gig, and it's already indicating storage space full. We called and we're being told that we can't do anything about it because there's 7 days at the last. Now, in this condition, what do you do?
Okay.
Because you can't use 32 gig within a week or within even a day to check whether it was active or not. Yet the system tells you it's a 32 gig space, yet within a few pictures put on and some few videos download, it tells you your 32 gig is out.
I understand your question very well.
What do you do? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for calling me. We have another call on line, Frederick. Hello, Frederick. Hello, Frederick. We lost Frederick there. So, yeah, we'll start off with the first question, security. And I was actually getting to that before we started picking the call. Basically, a lot of people... Frederick is back on the line. Hello, Frederick. Hello, Frederick.
Yeah, this is Ajiman. Just come tonight, Chama.
Hi, Ajiman.
Yeah, I hope you're doing well.
I'm very well. Do you shop online?
I started buying small matter. I just bought a phone. But my question is,
right.
I know buying online is convenient, but the safety is at stake.
Right.
One, if I'm to send money to pay, am I to pay before the goods delivered to me? Now, these hackers, you send money and maybe the money has been diverted or have been hacked. In this case, me sending the money, am I the one to pay extra or to repay? Secondly, when I'm buying online and I've seen the product online, I've read everything about it. This is the type I'm looking for. When it comes to me and it's not the type I requested for, I'll make order for. How is it going to be changed? These are some few questions I have for now.
Thank you very much, Ajiman, for calling. We have another call on the line. Hello, Albert.
Yes, hello, Spiky.
Hi, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you. So I had a peculiar issue during the Christmas period, where I listed some poultry beds, right?
Okay.
And on Tonaton, and this customer called and wanted it rearranged for where to meet up and deliver them, about 10 beds. Now I get to the agreed location and I call for hours and he doesn't show up, and I traveled a long distance. So just like one of the callers said in terms of security, now this is a case of disappointment. Now I can't follow up. I lose some of my bets because they were not strong enough because of the stress they went through of the hours. So how do you get... how do you remedy this kind of situation on the Tonaton side?
Right. Thank you for calling, Albert. So Tonaton had a lot of questions. I mean, Albert, you already created a premise for you knowing that creating consumer to consumer, if I should put it that way,
has its own challenges.
It has its own challenges. So
Look, let me bail him out a little before he even speaks. So first thing is, I think people need to act responsibly. That's the first thing. I remember at the last e-commerce summit, a customer told a story of how he had paid 2,000 Ghana cedis for a car that he was buying worth 20,000 for the car to be driven from Tamale to Accra. And of course, he lost his money. The question I asked the customer is that if you were buying a car in Accra from a garage, you'll go check out the car, you'll take your mother, your girlfriend, your wife, your mechanic, etc. You check out the car 3-4 times, you'll drive it, whatever, before you part with any money. It doesn't suddenly become any different because you're online. So you decide to part with money when somebody tells you the car is in Tamale, pay me 2,000 to buy you, to bring it down. So I just think people need to act responsibly. The fact that a marketplace means you're dealing directly with people means that you need to take the necessary precautions, okay? There's a little more that we can do as technology companies to sort of make it less risky. We can sort of rate our our vendors on the platform. We can ask you to take some necessary precautions. Don't part with money before you see the product, etc., etc. But I think more primarily, and this is why the distinction is important, that if you decide you're buying on a marketplace site, you need to understand due diligence is your responsibility, and you need to act responsibly. It doesn't suddenly go away because you're operating online.
Yeah, so I think I'll just continue. So actually, that was my first point. So what we are doing is that we are bridging the gap between the buyer and the seller. We are not involved in the transaction. So you being the buyer, you must assume full responsibility of the transaction. So in every part of the world or in every community, there will always be bad nuts who will try to find ways and means to dupe people or to lie here and there to make their money. And it's everywhere. So even whilst Tonaton has provided a great platform like this, such that I can be in Kumasi and buy something from Tesano, people will still want to take advantage of that. So you as the buyer as well, the first thing is that you must assume full responsibility of what you are purchasing. So what we do is that we also provide safety tips on the site. So for example, if you've not seen the product, don't pay. We make it very clear, because we are trying to help people understand that assume due diligence. But the truth is that most of the people on the site are also genuine. So for example, the case that he said, there could be a situation like that where someone can say, I'm in Kumasi, send me money, let me come to Accra, and when I come to Accra, we'll do business. I mean, that doesn't make sense. So those safety tips must be adhered to. What we also do is we have
But in the case of the seller, who went to meet the buyer, and the buyer did not turn up.
Oh, so, but with that,
as a
well, the customer also needs to, the vendor needs to realize that we experience that also as an online retail company. We go all the way to Kaswa, and the guy simply doesn't pick up his phone, and we have to come all the way.
I think on the online retail part, so you have that a lot as well.
I think you should create like a review sort of system for people to be able to review customers and vendors. In that case, if I know that this guy has 2 stars, I know not to trust the person.
I think Jumia has that. So Jumia, when we went for the fintech, the head of Jumia said that they have a rating system. If you
Well, the thing is, we all have it. Zuba Shop has it as well. There's a cultural thing, though. You know, in Ghana, we don't report when somebody does something wrong. So people generally never feel bad reviews. You find one out of the lot where they say clearly that I had a bad experience, but in Ghana, it's almost not allowed to say that someone's done something wrong. So most reviews are positive. It's one of the areas that I'm expecting that if we can grow, then it improves the experience for both the vendors and the customers. That people need to be able to say what they've experienced to guide other people who are purchasing. Let me quickly add the question about returns. If a vendor or an e-commerce company makes a false declaration on the product, even after the return period has expired, if you notice that it was a false declaration, at Zuba Shop, we will allow you a refund. And I'll assume that most other vendors will allow you a refund. Because this is a case of...
Yes.
It's a case of a false declaration.
False declaration,
because
definitely there should be.
He described, I think the phone, there's this problem where memory cards actually are faked to show like 32 gig when an actual
or it could be a situation where the system files are that big. It's highly unlikely, but it is a possibility.
Okay, so on this note, we have to bring the show to a close. My name is Kobe Spike Nkrumah. The show has been Geek Squad. With me has been Albert Bigger, the CEO of Zuba Shop. Thank you for joining me, Albert.
Pleasure.
And Daniel Safon Jr., the head digital strategy of Tonaton. And the usual suspects, Michael and Winston. Thank you for joining me. Catch you guys again next week. Bye-bye.